Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the market overview. And if you're interested in any of the services I provide, make sure to check out the links in the description below for both the Patreon and Discord. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm recording now, everyone in the live chat, just so you know. And let's get into the overview real quick. So, I want to take a look at the Dixie first, like usual. So interesting activity coming from the Dixie. So as you can see, Dixie was going up as we had mapped out and then came into this fair value gap here. So it did tap into the bearish fair value gap. But surprisingly enough, what happened here as the non-farm payrolls came out, it came out positive and yet the dollar weakened. So, common sense would tell you that the dollar should strengthen off of that news. But this is a great reminder, not just to myself, but everyone else, that charts and liquidity rule the day. Okay. I circled this area because one, it was a major area of interest. You had liquidity pulling above this small pivot here. Okay. Now I did think it would potentially get higher, at least towards this blue zone, towards the bottom of it, or at least towards the top, retesting this structure it had been building, and then turning over. But there was enough liquidity here for it to pull back, and then it also trapped probably many people who are trying to play the news. So you want to trust the charts at the end of the day. So no matter what I say, if the charts say something else, trust the chart. And I trust the charts as well. That's why I'm in the positions I'm in, especially if you're in the swing trade service, you know exactly what we're in. Okay. So dollar came into the bearish fair value gap zones, pulled back from it, beautiful pullback. And now it's looking very likely that we do continue down towards 102.7 and then coming back into this ascending trend line to finally test this as a roving support. Now, I am skeptical that we immediately break through. We eventually will. It's very likely this ascending trend line will break, but to see it immediately break through, I think we're going to have to have a lot of fundamental economic data to push that on the dollar, okay? But over time, over the next week or so, and potentially between now and March, we will probably see the dollar trading at 100 or sub 100. All right, let's get into the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ real quick. So off of that dollar drop and off of the non-farm payroll news, we had the Dow shoot up into the fair value gap. And that's where it's been trading, right? So it held that top side, didn't fully fill it, through a closure, but we did wick above this bearish fair value gap zone. And this candle, this close was very powerful. It's implying obvious continuation, and we should be looking for the liquidity to get grabbed from this fair value gap to fully get filled, and then eventually we may even see this pivot up here get taken out, and any liquidity that's pulled above that level will probably get snatched away. Now once we get towards this pivot, or I should say if we get towards this pivot zone, then comes in the question, are we going into a new rally where the all-time high is going to be threatened and potentially taken out? In my opinion, as of right now, I don't believe so. I do think that we're either going to come into this fair value gap and fail off of it again, or we're going to have that move up, grab all the liquidity we can from this level here that's circled, as well as potentially even this level here, and then have a continuation of the macro downtrend, okay? It's very unlikely as of now, because of the current Fed policies and the central bank policies in general, that we're going to have a new bull run. That's not likely. Unless, of course, next week or sometime early this year, we have Jerome Powell coming out saying, hey, we're not going to raise rates anymore. In fact, we're going to start easing. We're going to start cutting rates. That will then probably lead to a hyperbolic move and probably lead to hyperinflation, in all honesty. So that is a scenario that can happen. It's just a very improbable scenario. But again, we don't trade our feelings. We trade what the chart says, what it shows us. Keep trading simple and you will make money. What it's showing right now is implying potential more upside to at least this higher fair value gap, okay? And then once we potentially get there, then we continue to observe and see what the chart tells us next. Next is the S&P. Let's see what's going on with the S&P. So similar, coming into the bearish fair value gap and also this resistance here at this pivot. And very likely, if the Dow has that continuation, you'll see the S&P do the exact same. Now, I was expecting the S&P, I was mapping it out to actually take out this low pivot to grab the liquidity under there, but as of right now, this daily candle shows an implication that's probably not the case, Okay, we're probably going to continue higher, but if we do continue higher, it's very unlikely we stop here for the S&P. It's very likely we take out this pivot here. Okay, so this swing high and then this fractal pivot here. Okay, and then we'll look for 4,200 being a major level of resistance. Now, I'm going to be very surprised if we can actually decisively break this descending trend line. Okay, so this descending trend line, if this is decisively broken, I will be pretty impressed. Now, when I say decisively broken, I mean something similar to what I'm going to show you on the NASDAQ, where we may get price to come up, grab liquidity here, and then it should immediately break back down. Okay, so if we're going to have a continuation of the macro bear trend relatively early in the year, I'm saying between quarter one and the end of quarter two to beginning of quarter three, we shouldn't see a major move above this trend line for long. We should pull back to it unless something huge is changing on the fundamental level for the economies in regards to the central banks. Then we may actually see a massive continuation, and then we may be in store for a much bigger rally than expected. Okay, but keep this trend line in mind. This is going to be a big deal if the S&P can decisively break above this. And honestly, it's really, if it could hold above this line for a couple weeks, 1 to 2 weeks, would be extremely surprising. Next is the NASDAQ, and this is what I want to kind of show you what I mean with the S&P. This is the sort of behavior I expect with that trend line with the S&P, where you have the breakout. Okay, you have the breakdown, and then you have the breakout, but you never have that decisive continuation to break down. Okay. Hey Zippy, can you mute your mic? I'm echoing. Sorry about that. All right. So this is what I'm seeing potentially happen with the S&P with that trend line. Okay, unless something changes fundamentally. In regards to the NASDAQ specifically, look for it to come up towards this bearish fair value gap, and then potentially continuation to attack this consolidation up here. Okay, the Dow's going to need a pretty big move for the NASDAQ to get all the way back towards this green zone now, but it's potentially there. Okay, and as you can see, it's made this bottoming structure potentially here. You have this kind of like triple bottom structure if you want to count this. So it does have a potential base here if it can hold this level. All right, let's get into the oil real quick. So we'll see what oil's doing. And oil, off of the spike down on the dollar, also spiked down. And where did it spike down to? Exactly this fair value gap. So it's pretty incredible watching this stuff play out. We've had this fair value gap on here since back over here. So it's pretty impressive that price came directly into it, wicked through it, and now it's continuously holding it. If the dollar continues to weaken quickly, then we'll probably see oil weaken quickly as well. But eventually my thesis on this has not changed. You may see this trade down. You may even see it trade down to 60, something like this. However, the demand will soon exceed the supply. I'm going to hold fast on that because nothing has changed in regards to that. You will likely see, especially in Europe, the demand will soon exceed the supply, and that will lead to a major spike up towards probably 90 plus and potentially even higher. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm still very bullish on oil. I'm also bullish on the dollar, but just looking at a much larger time frame. All right, next is gold and silver. Gold, off of the weakness of the dollar, spiked through the rising triangle here, and we're looking great to actually come up and take out this entire consolidation. So look forward to break past 1880, and then potentially, if we can get continuation from there, look forward to come attack this fair value gap first, right here. So right around 1900 to 1911 to 1926, and then start kind of finding some resistance around this zone and potentially spiking into this fair value gap up here towards 1950, 1960. Okay, we will likely slow down around this level. However, I'm still bullish on gold. I was bullish even over here that we should pull back, have a bullish pullback, and then continuation higher to these levels. But because of the dollar's aggressive drop, its weakness, then we're seeing that move now. So watch for it to get towards these levels, and then I would look for a major pullback from here. But it would be a bullish pullback in my opinion. I'd be looking for a bullish consolidation or just a bullish retracement to eventually just continue higher. And I think we can retrace as low as here, right in this level right here. So we may see price kind of spike up towards these double fair value gap zones up here, something kind of like this. trade in here, and then start pulling back, having a nice retracement here, and creating a much larger structure, bottoming structure here, and then having that continuation eventually over the next coming months to attack its local high here, or its relative all-time high here at 2000 plus. All right, next is silver. Silver, same thing. Very bullish on silver. It did have much more of a decisive rejection from its zone. Okay, so it's been fighting at these fair value gap zones for quite a bit. It's been rejecting quite often. I should say Friday had a wonderful daily candle, bullish engulfing. So this does imply continuation, especially if gold can continue and the dollar can stay weak. Look for it to come up towards this higher fair value gap at about $24, $24.70, $24.80, around there. But if we do break down, the same levels as before. Nothing's changed with silver. It will follow gold, even though it is somewhat lagging percentage-wise. In the end, it will follow gold. All right, lastly, we'll look at Bitcoin, and then we'll look into any questions anyone has and all that. So Bitcoin has been, like usual, relatively quiet. I mean, we've had some bullish activity yesterday. We actually broke past 17,000, which was nice to see. We couldn't close above it. Seems pretty rare these days, but we'll see if we can get that continuation, especially as the futures open up tomorrow night. I'm curious to see how Bitcoin's going to perform the beginning of this year. As of right now, nothing has changed in regards to it. I do have more of a bullish bias in the short term. I do think it can get at least towards 17.8, 17.7, but I am seeing continuation towards at least the bottom of this daily fair value gap at about 18,600. So I am more bullish than bearish in the short term. However, when I look at this on the macro, I just want to make this very, very clear. I don't think this is the bottom for Bitcoin, okay? I do think in the next 6 months to maybe 12 months, we are going to see a Bitcoin that has traded. I'm not saying it's going to be there in 6 to 12 months. I'm just going to say that has traded sub 12,000, potentially sub 10,000, okay? I do think this level down here is generally the bottom level here. So this consolidation zone here, and then also the top side of this much larger consolidation over here is gonna act as the relative bottom zone for this bear cycle Bitcoin's in, okay? I do think this will be the ultimate levels where you want to see Bitcoin get to and then hold, and then from there consolidate and create a new floor there, and then potentially start the new 4-year bull cycle, whenever that may be, okay? I do see us coming up like this, but eventually over a period of time, we will probably come back down, create a base, and then have major continuation. How long it will take, no one knows, but this is just my general educated guess. It's all guessing in regards to mapping it out. The only thing we have control over is our trading process and our risk management. That's the most important thing. If you want to map out a potential pathway, it's fun, more power to you, but it's not the most important thing. You don't have to do any of this to be profitable and become rich. Okay, you don't have to do any of this, but it's good to study charts. You get better and better. All right, that is it for the overview. Let me quickly look at the small account so we can do a quick update on that. So currently on the small account, I've actually been in a bit of like a break, okay, because of the holidays. So I haven't really touched the small account until recently now. It's been about, I want to say 3 or 4 days since I've really reared back into it after, the Christmas time and New Year's. And it's been pretty good. We did have a couple losers that brought us down from 400 back down to just under 300. So we had a wallet balance right now of 293. But we have a couple of good trades here where we are right now trading above 400. We have a really good trade here on Gala. We have a really, potentially good trade on Comp. We'll see. And then we have I would say, laggard on Dot. There's a good chance that Dot may end up, underperforming, may end up being another loser. Once this loads up, I'll pull up my my position history. It's a little bit laggy, unfortunately. So as you can see, this is Gala. Currently just doing the hourly strategy for Ichimoku, just playing the breakouts. I think I've done a couple videos on it. I may do another one in the near future if you're curious about the strategy. It's very good. It's very simple. It works pretty well. I'm not sure why I'm lagging so much. It might be because I'm streaming, but Point is, it's been pretty good. Let me just show you a couple of the losses I've had here. Just want to be as transparent as possible, just so you know I didn't deposit any money or anything like that. If it loads up, just give it a couple seconds here. While this is loading up, guys, make sure to have, if you have any questions, make sure to ask me, get them ready. And then we'll look at a couple charts if you have anything specific. So here's like a good stream of losers. So we had a nice big winner, and then we had a bunch of losers here once they started coming back. You know, $21, $26, $15, $3, $11. You know, my average loser is going to be at most around $26, $27 on average. Sometimes I'll have bigger ones like I have had, and then I'll have big winners like $80, $60, stuff like that. And then I'll end up having like small ticky tack wins and losses because my stop loss, it'll turn into something like this where my stop loss is right around my entry, fairly break even, slightly in profit, slightly in loss. And then I'll have something like Gala where you have this huge winner that's just rolling. And it just kind of blots out any minor losers you've had over the last 5-6 trades. And that's the beauty of these trend trading strategies. You don't really need a high win rate. You need about 30%, 35%. If you get anywhere near 40%, you're absolutely balling. So you don't really need a high win rate to be profitable. You just need good risk management. And we are very quickly, hopefully, gonna get past 400 again, and then could start the third leg finally, where we're trying to get to $1,000, starting from $100. So far, pretty good. All right, so that is it. That is it. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want me to look at any charts? What's going on? How is everyone doing? And we're still recording. So I'm just going to record for a little bit longer. That way, if you have any questions that you really want an answer on, you'll have it recorded, so you can always reference it back. And then once I stop recording, I'll sit in the room and we can hang out, guys. Anyone have any questions or charts?
Hey, yo.
Oh, what's up, Naz?
Yo. Um, I just want to have a quick look at SNX. I want to see what you have to say because I'm currently in a long in it and I'm 50 something. Yeah, I'm 50. I didn't post it in the Nasty trades, but yeah, it seems to have broken out of the sloping resistance.
Okay. And so you want S and X, and then Enric wants B and B. So I'll start with S and X. Let's see.
Sweet. Oh, it's actually just hit it. Sorry. I'm looking at the weekly now.
Oh, okay. Well, let's take a look at it. I'll just do
But
Binance.
it is a quite bullish structure
Oh wow. Oh
if we
yeah,
break
yeah,
out of it.
yeah. I see. We actually, I think you sent this over to me some time ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
yeah.
I have my chart is already kind of on the daily at least is already built on it. Yeah, it's coming right into the daily descending trend line. It did trade above it for a little bit, but it's currently sold below it. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what this. I mean, this is clearly a fair value gap. This must be on a different time frame. Well, it's been filled, that's for sure, and now it's trading
Yeah.
into the a bearish. Maybe it was the weekly. Hold on. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. But it is trading into this daily fair value gap zone. So let's move this down here. I'm not sure. It must have been a different time frame I was looking at this originally, but trading into the bearish fair value gap currently, and also right under this descending trend line. This is a good shot. This breaks, by the way. This is a really
Mm.
good shot. This breaks, and if it does break, I think you're gonna very quickly, you'll see this break towards the high wicks here, the high pivots here. Now, actually taking them out, it's a different story. So what I'm kind of eyeing here potentially is you're gonna get a double top structure here, okay, and then you'll
Oh,
have a
okay.
bullish pullback, and it'll try and hold this level because you're going to make a larger bottoming structure, potentially. So an inverse head and
What
shoulder
is the
structure here.
what is the level? Is it 3.42 around there?
The bottom, oh, the top level. Let's see. So the
Yeah, yeah,
all right. So let's see here. The top level is right around 2.06, and then potentially I would go a little bit
Uh,
lower, like 1.953. Okay, that's where
okay,
I would
cool.
see this come up. Now, this could just zoom past this. Okay, like this could. So I'm
Yeah,
not saying this will exactly. It could just zoom past this and then pull back. But if we're looking for a larger bottoming structure, you may have to see this come up towards that zone there, fail off of it a little bit, pull back, and look to make just a higher low from this low here, right? Which would then
yeah,
correspond into a left shoulder, head, and potentially a right shoulder. So just observe it, but I do think this looks good to break out, unless we just get a horrible candle on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it just
yeah,
goes down. But I'm not seeing that at the moment. This looks pretty. This looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. This looks like it's finally
yeah,
slowing down from the drop, and we may go into a much more bullish consolidation to have continuation to the upside. And ultimately, the goal is ultimately going to be taking out this pivot here and then trying to just grab as much liquidity from this imbalance here.
yeah.
Yep. Looks good. I mean, I
No,
like it.
cool, cool,
This may
cool.
take some time though, so if you go long in it, just be prepared to sit in it. But if you're patient enough, this looks like an absolute killer potentially.
Yeah. Sweet.
Uh,
Thanks, thanks.
you got it, brother. You know what? Actually, let's turn on Ichimoku real quick, just so we can see it, just so we can see what's going on. So here, Ichimoku is kind of showing us the same thing, right? So Ichimoku, you're still under
Yeah,
the cloud, but you're potentially changing character because you have the lacking span, the Chico span coming into the candles. So if we get that continuation higher, you'll finally get that Chico span breaking through those candles, okay? And then you'll probably get a bullish TK cross between the Tenkan and Kaijin, though it's a weak TK cross because you're under the cloud. So as you come
yeah,
into what? The cloud, you fail around that zone and pull back. And as you're doing that, the forward cloud, the future cloud, is probably twisting bullish or getting really, really thin. So you even
yeah,
have some confluence with Ichimoku here. So yeah, this
yeah.
definitely put this on your watch list, guys. Great call out by NASA here. Um,
Sweet. Thanks, man.
you got it, man. BNB. Okay, Enric, I'll check out BNB. BNB caught my eye um, for the small account because Tristan here, Tristan's in the chat room, guys. He actually sent it to me. Looks great. I have not taken a position in it yet, but it looks great. It's definitely of interest. I might be too late actually. We'll see. Um, yeah, I mean, BNB is such an interesting character. I was extremely bullish on it all the way pretty much over here. We had a great long on it coming into this level here, and then since pretty much like FTX and all this stuff, it kind of just dropped down pretty hard. But overall, its structure is bullish. Like it's had one of the most bullish structures in crypto, at least relative to everyone else. And I really, really like it. Now we can actually get rid of this fair value gap here. So this fair value gap got filled by all this here. So we'll get rid of that. And now we're coming into this imbalance here. So what I would look for in the short term, okay, in the short term, look out for BNB to make a move right towards this level here. So right towards this really small fair value gap here at 280, 281.9, it's about 282. And then I would actually look for potentially a pullback coming back towards this level right here. So let me mark this for you. So you're going to have a pullback back towards, in my opinion, back towards this level right here. So about 270-ish. And that's going to try and create a new trend to the upside. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing here. So you're holding this low from this low, right? But you did lose the consolidation that was here because of the FTX drop. Now what I see is happening is you're going to come up potentially, take out this fair value gap, possibly trade through it a little bit, then pull back, and it's very important it holds this zone, okay? Because it retakes this consolidation. It's retaking that level. Whoops. Okay? So it's very important that happens. And then from the pullback, we eventually see continuation. So you want this to be a bullish consolidation, ideally. Some sort of flag, something that will pull back and have a bullish price action to then lead a continuation. It's very important we retake this consolidation if we're going to have that continuation, because ultimately, I do think BNB is actually undervalued, which is crazy. It's one of the few coins where I think it's undervalued, where I think 99% of them are overvalued. BNB is undervalued because they're a working business with revenue, and foreseeably seems like they have plenty of profit, and they're a damn near monopoly. Okay, so it's like they should be priced 400 plus. They should be priced more than what they are, assuming their books are completely copacetic. Okay, we don't really have an eye into it, but just judging at it from face value, what I can see, Binance is ruling the world. It's Binance's world in crypto, and everyone else is in it. Okay. Anyone
Yeah.
else? Yeah. Anyone else have any other charts or any questions about just trading in general or whatever? Because remember, you can always watch it back because I do have this recording.
I do have one on uh, BIT, bit.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm actually in a short right now, um, but I'm hoping it gets back down a little bit further and then into a long because yeah, like what I mentioned with the XNO, this one seems to move quite violently. Well, at least in percentage wise. And if we stop at 0.368 around that area, turn that into support, we could move quite nicely up.
So Bit, I had a pretty good trade on Bit on the small account. I think it's like I made about 60 something bucks off of that one, or 70 bucks. It was one of the really good longs I caught. I caught most of this
Mm,
move. Yeah, like what I like about Bit right now, I actually see this having a nice pullback. Firstly,
yeah,
okay, so there's gonna have in my opinion, a pretty nice pullback. I would be targeting this level right here. Okay, so I'd be looking
yeah,
for at least this move here. So we're in the same place, you and I, in regards to this. Like I'm thinking 37 looks good, 35 potentially. And this, so I would wait if you're being conservative. I would actually wait for this daily candle close because one of my favorite candle structures, my candle patterns I like to see. I love seeing a strong move up. Okay, so a bullish candle, then a doji, and then a very weak candle, whether that's bearish engulfing or a decisively a bearish candle next. So exactly what you're seeing here. This is one of my favorite structures because if this can close bearish like this or better, so like this or like a bearish engulfing, the probabilities are very high that it has a further retracement lower. The continuation is very, very likely. And that's same thing with downside, right? If you're looking for upside, I mean, you can look for a strong sell-off candle, then look for a doji, and then a nice bullish candle next. There's not an example right here in front of us, but there's plenty of examples if you go back into time. Point is though, this looks great. I am with you on the pullback. And then I have to
sweet.
see. I have to see how price comes into this level because it could potentially hold this. I'm a little skeptical it'll hold this consolidation. It can though. It really depends on how the price behaves. If it comes in really hard into this level, I'm going to be skeptical that it holds it for long. So what I would expect if we, let's say over the next 3 or 4 days we have like decisive like bearish candles, kind of similar to what we saw here, right, to the upside. I would look for then a bounce up like a little ricochet up, kind of like with the rubber band effect,
Yeah,
and then a bear consolidation structure that'll probably lead a little lower. Now I'm not completely bearish on this, but I do think that it may need more liquidity down here to then lead towards the bigger move towards this much larger imbalance down here, and potentially trying to take out this, this consolidation, this failure over here. So I'm a little skeptical on it holding this level, but I'm very confident it does get to this level. So I'm with you on looking for that downside, and then we'll have to
on the
wait and
short,
see.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on the short for sure. Yeah, if you're confident in it, taking it now or soon, just have your stop above the wick here or whatever time frame you're using. Just use that previous swing high. Just give it a
Yeah.
little bit of room, but off the daily looks great. Like I think that's potentially great for a nice pullback. 4 hour, I like this too. Like this sort of price action looks pretty good for a topping structure in the short term. So again, I'm seeing a lot of short-term bearish activity here. So I'm with you on the short. Okay. I was wondering if you can get into your tweet. Oh, the yeah. Well, the tweet. I'll pull it up on the screen here. Let me just. I'm kind of like half joking, but I'm kind of not. So what I meant by the tweet, in all seriousness. So I'm just gonna read it out because I don't want to open up Twitter, and I don't think the recording can see Discord. So um, I tweeted most successful traders slash investors in the space are selling complexity. So getting into that, what I mean is a lot of the most, I would say, famous, personalities in this space, or just the biggest known names. Again, not everyone, but most of them. They're selling you complexity because they have a product to sell you, right? So I'm not going to exclude myself in this. Like, I sell a product, right? I'm selling a swing trade service. I'm selling a tutoring service. I'm even selling a day trading room. But in the end, what I'm selling you is not complexity in the sense that I'm making trading harder. My whole goal is to make trading easier for you. I believe that trading is hard enough. Why make the process harder? Whereas most people are selling you an indicator that does 20 useless things when you only need to follow one thing in that indicator, and they're pricing it at $500. Or they're selling you like total nonsense TA that makes no sense. Like I've seen people draw head and shoulders that don't exist. I've seen people just make stuff up, right? And the reason why they're doing that is, one, they may not and probably don't know what they're talking about, but two, it's also because they're trying to sell confusion, and they have the dose of reality. They're the ones that are holding the reality, even though they're the ones creating the confusion. So that's what I meant in the first line. And then, trading is hard. So I say next, trading is hard, but it doesn't need to be complex. It's totally true. You only need one. Some people don't need any indicators. You really don't need any indicators. But if you need an indicator, you only need one or two at most. Like, you don't need a fucking rainbow on your chart. There's no point. There's no point. You don't need level 2. You don't need all this heat maps. You don't need any of it. You can use it. They have some use. Don't get me wrong, but you don't need it. All right, it's not necessary. And then the next thing I said, the most successful traders in the world don't value complexity. They value repeatability. And then I also say, and this is just me kind of fucking around, but I do believe it. I know this to be true because I'm one of the best ever, and I am one of the best ever because I've been doing it for so long. I've been doing it for so long, right? And I've survived the markets long enough, and I make money consistently. So I am one of the best ever. You gotta remember how small the pool of consistently winning traders are. It's literally 8 to 10% a year, and that 8 to 10%, those are not the same people. They're changing. It's like some people are really, really successful 1, 2, 3 years, and then they have some really bad years. And then you got people who, like me, who, by the grace of God, have been consistently successful for now 7 years, right? 7, 8 years. So I do consider myself one of the best, and I've become rich from it. Okay, so it's like that. That is my pride. But the most important thing is not that I was successful. The most important thing was the line I said before that. The most successful traders in the world don't value complexity. They value repeatability. I don't want something that works 95% of the time that I can barely understand and it's hard for me to do over and over. I'd rather win 50% of the time if I can do it comfortably over and over and over and understand the process. It's so not worth making trading harder. It makes no sense to me. And in the end, it comes down to people are arrogant. They don't want to accept that, they're not smart. And I've said this to you, Enric. I've said this to a couple people in the tutoring sessions. The dumber you are, the easier it is to be a successful trader. And I mean that completely seriously. If you are someone who is not a rocket scientist, a doctor, super intelligent, the markets are going to be a lot easier for you because you'll be able to accept the reality easier. You'll be able not to try and reinvent the damn wheel, and it'll be easier for you to do the menial task of trading your structure, your system, whatever it is, over and over and over. It's the really smart people that want to improve on themselves that fuck everything up for themselves. That's why you'll notice you should research how many successful specialists in this world are good investors and traders. It's really almost zero. Most doctors, most engineers, most of them are shit at this job. And then you'll have the guy who's he's running a car wash, or the guy that's running a fucking diner. He's making 11 million a year, or 5 million a year, because he understands. Oh, I just have to play the game. I gotta do this the same thing over and over and over. Why would I fucking change? Who cares if it doesn't look smart? That's what I meant by that. And most people in this space, large and small, large communities, small communities, don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they legitimately are just leading everyone following them to not riches but just status quo. They'll always just make sure you stay there to pay them. That's their job. My job is to get you to be able to trade enough to where you don't have to pay me for shit. You can just leave, or you can just stay in the room and hang out, trade for yourself. And one of the easiest ways is literally what you're seeing right here. Let me, hopefully this fucking thing pulls up. A breakout strategy is not the most pretty strategy, but it's a strategy that's worked for 100 years. It's like and it's gonna work for the next 100 years. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this small account challenge, so people can see it. You can just see it. I'm all about evidence. I'm all about evidence. I'm showing you this small account is going to turn into something big eventually, because the strategy works. It's going to do it. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be 2 months or a year from now. But if I keep going, eventually this thing will be thousands of dollars, because the breakout strategy will work, because it always has worked and always will work. And the only thing that can screw it up is me. So it's like that. That's it. That's all you need to do. That's all. That's it. That's all trading is. And everyone who takes my tutoring sessions, I make it very clear. I'm not going to be teaching you anything proprietary. What I will be teaching you is correct stuff. I'm going to be teaching you the correct things on how to look at the markets, and that's sad. You shouldn't have to. It should be common knowledge on how to look at the markets, but there's so much junk out there. It's possessed people to believe in the wrong things. So that's my soliloquy. But hopefully that hopefully that answered your question. I put that tweet out because I saw a horrible post on Twitter, and I was just like, yeah, I gotta. No one's gonna see my Twitter post, but I'm gonna see it. I need to post it for myself. It's like I was so annoyed. I was like, it was like 50,000 people were like thumbs up, loving this thing. I'm like, this is crazy. But this is also why the markets are so profitable, guys. If you can figure this shit out, oh my god, if you can figure this shit out, you are set for life. Your kids are set for life. There's so much money here. If you figure this out, like, you just got to figure it out. Play a breakout, play the strategy that works for you, and ignore everything else. And you do that, you will become rich. It's hard. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's easy. It's hard because you deal with the emotions, but it's simple. Do not make it more complicated. Anyone who says otherwise and doesn't show you evidence, fuck them. Fuck them. Their opinion means dog shit.
Welcome.
Yeah, their opinion means dog shit. It means dog shit. It completely does. If I come across someone that tells me I'm using Ichimoku wrong, and yet I turn $100, let's say, into like $5,000, fuck them. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about, right? If you're using a certain strategy and people are saying you're doing it wrong, you should do this, fuck them. If you're making money, fuck them. And it's that simple. You're going to be taking their money because they're overthinking the markets. Do not have an opinion on what the market should be doing. Just look at what you're trading, wait for the same thing that has given you past positive results, and do that over and over and over. It's a video game. It's a video game. That's all you gotta do. All right, now I'm done. I promise. Any more questions? Any more questions? Oh man.
Nah, just to add on to what you were saying with the guys that are trying to overcomplicate things, and they making money off of your fees.
Yep. Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
more that they reap in, they're gonna get you in, and they're gonna just they don't give a fuck. I mean, look at all the big names like Crypto, Carl the Moon, all those dudes. They they will they will come in with this flashy lifestyle. And I mean, look at the project that Carl the Moon came up with Costa. It just dumped. It was ridiculous. I mean, how many people are using their codes or whatever to come and join my link? Wada wada wada. that's all cool, but they making a fee off of that,
Yeah, and
and
it's
that's where
crazy.
they're making
A ton.
probably a majority of their money. To be honest with you,
Maybe. Again, I'll say this, like I don't really watch them, but I will say this, like I have some positive feelings towards them in that, they have their uses, but people need to realize that, you know, they have a monetary incentive to keep you trading and such. Now, I don't think they all want you to lose your money. I'm not saying it's like that, but you're being fed information that will eventually lead you to lose your money. For better or worse, you'll be taught things that aren't healthy. And a big part of this is obviously leverage and such. Like that's another big issue. But big or small community, if they give you, for example,
yeah,
we have referral links here, right? From XC, everyone knows we do, and I don't hide it. But my goal is not for you to blow up your account. My goal is for you to save on the trading fees, but also I want you to learn trading from me, because my trading will work. It does work. My strategies will work, and my thought process in coming into the markets will work. And hopefully over time, if I haven't already, I will prove it to you. I should have proven it already a couple of times, but hopefully I continue to do that for you. But I want you to join a good platform. There are other communities that their goal is to get you signed up because they know that whatever they're shilling, whatever trading strategy, whatever the fuck it is, doesn't have a long term success rate. And they lose their money just as much as you do, but
yeah.
at least they get paid when you lose your money and they can keep trading because they have a problem,
I
probably a
think
gambling problem.
I've got like two things to say about that. First of all, show us your Bugatti.
I don't have a
No, no,
Bugatti,
no,
unfortunately. Maybe I should get one.
no, no,
I
no.
should get
I'm
one
just
though.
I'm just kidding. But the second thing was that yeah, of course there's certain benefits of shilling or saying, oh no, join Maxi or whatever. But at least during that time, during your journey, you are kind of processing that comp looks like it's going to go down.
What? Oh, comp?
Just yeah, yeah. No,
Oh.
I'm just having a look at it now. But the whole process is to make sure that everyone in the community benefits. And I mean, with for instance, this morning, like JD, oh no, I didn't have a trade today. So like, I spent about maybe 40 minutes to, yeah, I think I spent about 40 minutes trying to look for something decent, and luckily I found something. And then he went to bed. Hey JD, why did you go to bed? You should have taken the trade. But no, I'm talking shit. But yeah, I think there are very few people that are wanting to build a community that is actually profitable. And to add on top of that, with these guys that have massive influence, they make it seem simple, but yeah, it is simple. But to common folk, it's like, hey, what the fuck?
There's an
Like, no,
incentive. There's an incentive for the community, for communities to not get too profitable. Like, because for example,
yeah.
like uh like Nasty's a good example, right? So if I really didn't want any competition or anything like in the Discord, I wouldn't want anyone else posting their stuff in here, right? Like I wouldn't want anyone getting too good to where I feel like, oh shit, like what if a portion of my community goes with them if they decide to do their own thing? I don't care about that because I want Nasty and I want anyone else, whether they've taken lessons from me or just hanging out here, to be good enough to where they don't need anyone. Like my goal is like you don't
That's
need
it.
me. Like if you want to be with me here, more power to you. I love you, but you don't need me because I mean I don't need to do it, right? It's like because the people I wanted to help in the beginning for this, they're set now. They're good. It's over. They don't need anything from me. That's why they're not talking here. They're done. They just do their process that we that I taught them, and it's over. And
I think
it's that simple.
community where you can post a chart and people already know, hey, it's going this way, it's going that way. So that's what makes it easier as well, is that if you get a group of guys that know what they're talking about and they say, okay, well, boom, post a chart, I'm thinking this, you already kind of get the basics, or not even the basics, you get the I got a short on Gala as well.
Guys, what I'm getting at is Enric is gonna leave us in like 3 months. Enric
No,
is like
no.
he's like crossed this threshold already where I'm like super surprised. This dude's making
Oh
he's making so much money
man,
now, it's
I
crazy.
was hoping to just go
Nah,
and
I'm fucking with you,
I
Enric. I
was
know,
you.
I know.
I was hoping. I was like, oh no, Eric's gonna invite us to Miami, and we all
Yeah,
gonna get a table, and
Bugatti.
he's just gonna drive us around in his Bugatti and have the best night ever.
All right, well, before we go on, let me just end the recording. I'll hang out. Hold on. Let me just. It's gonna get too long. Let me just try and end this correctly. Everyone, thank you for stopping by. If you couldn't make the live, thank you for watching the recording. If you have any questions, make sure to ask me in the Discord or in the comments section. And if you're interested in any of those services I do, make sure to check out the links in the description below. And remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. I love you guys. Take care.